All right, third video, guys. We're gonna go through the squat. I'm gonna just do it with a 30-pound dumbbell for a goblet squat. Remember the goblet squat? We just hold it directly underneath our chin. What I wanna go through is we're gonna start from the bottom up, right? So always start with your feet, right? And what we'll do is I want you guys, I always wanna squat wide, right? I'll tell you if we're gonna squat narrow. I'm not big on narrow stance squats, right? Because when you narrow stance squat, the knees tend to flare out a little bit too much over the toes, and the joints just are not happy about that. And you want to think about more position in sports. When, let's say, a lacrosse player, when you go to take that shot, or let's say you're on defense, when you finish, are you in a narrow stance or are you in a wide stance? 9 times out of 10, unless you really stink at shooting, you're in a nice wide stance when you finish. And when you're on defense, you're always shuffling wide. All right, so that's why I'll give you a good idea. You can see my legs and how wide I go. All right, so here. Good, chest high. I'm gonna push my hips back. All right, so now let's talk about what I do. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna push my butt back a little bit before I start. And then the easiest way to squat is to pretend that you're sitting on something behind you, right? That'll force you to push your butt back and down. You wanna push all that weight into your heels, all right? We don't wanna be falling forward in any way. That's why we wanna squat with shoes off, deadlift shoes off. The next point being, I want to push my legs out. Never let your legs come in. All right, we don't want the knee cave in any way. That's going to put a lot of different tendons, muscles, everything under a lot of stress that we do not want those muscles and tendons and everything to have. All right, so make sure we're pushing out. Then your torso, right? So from your waist up to the neck area, we want to make sure you don't want to stand completely tall as you're going down, meaning you don't want to be like this. All right, you want to make sure this is pretty good right here. This is no good. This is more of a deadlift position. So in between standing tall and a deadlift position is a good squat position to be in. You don't want to fall forward, right? And you definitely don't want to be completely tall. It's going to put a lot of strain on your back doing it that way. All right, you want to push a little forward so the hamstrings get involved a little bit more. And the low back does a little bit of work, but not too much work. Not a lot to the squat. Make sure, again, you're pushing out, pushing into your heels. Chest stays somewhat high, but not too high. And again, I'll watch you guys pretty closely and we'll make sure we correct it, but that's a pretty good tutorial to start with.